Warning: the following is intended for mature audiences. It includes crude language and references to the use of illicit substances. Viewer discretion is advised.
To your mom.
Is there any way I can get you guys to stop drinking?
Hey, Zach.
What?
Have you heard about the fourth Star Wars prequel?
No! And neither have you, you crazy warlocks. I'm Zach Nanimus.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Johnny Dem.
And today, not only are we going to be talking a little bit about Rogue One, a Star Wars story, but we're also we're also introducing a brand new guest/warlock, my brother Jeremy. This is his first episode. How long, Johnny, have we been trying to get Jeremy on the show?
It's been a few episodes.
It's been like a year.
He's been like
since he's been back.
Yeah. He's half a year.
So, one of the reasons that we wanted to have Jeremy on the show is because among us, he's actually kind of the Star Wars expert. He loves Star Wars far more than either of us.
My brother.
Far more than you.
He loves Star Wars more than me and Dad and Mom. He got Star Wars a Christmas present. I didn't get anything.
Oh shit.
But nevertheless, we're here to talk a little bit about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That's I'm not getting that title wrong, right? That's the title of the show.
I think, or is it Star Wars?
It's
Star Wars Rogue One story.
It's Roswas.
Roswas?
No, Swoshras. Star Wars.
Swoshras.
Star Wars, a Rogue One story.
That sounds like way too hip and with it. How you doing? Swoshras.
Well, I mean, Knights of the Old Republic got shortened down to KOTOR.
Which sounds okay, like kind of cool.
It sounds like the Rancor's
Yeah.
cousin.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I was to say, hey, went and checked out Swoshras this weekend.
I would assume that you did a drug containing formaldehyde,
You know
honestly.
what? You know
I would
what?
have taken you to the hospital.
Yeah.
It's like I'm having a stroke. So, went to the movies this weekend. What'd you check out?
Get in the car.
Once Kathleen Kennedy says it, then everyone will start saying it. You got to hear first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't know who that is. We are not wrong.
Oh, God.
It is certainly Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yes.
And that's a bad title. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like a bad title can necessarily ruin a bad movie. It just has to be a bad movie.
Right.
No, it's just that they're trying to make it so different and such a different idea from the mainstream Star Wars movies, because they're planning, what? Okay, let's be honest, they're planning 5 more. They want to finish off this trilogy and have another one, because that's how movies are made now. You have these tremendous dynasties that take decades to come to fruition. Because when did Iron Man 1 come out? What was that, like 07?
That was...
Getting close to like 9 years.
Yeah, I just remember that an Iron Man or a Transformer movie would come out right before I was about to deploy every time.
Yeah.
And so, so that was always the benchmark. You know what I mean? Oh, there's a new Iron Man coming out. Must be time for me to leave again. You know?
But this is, the reason that we're talking about it is because a brand new trailer just came out that features Alfalfa from Our Gang, later known as Little Rascals. Yeah, like Forrest Whitaker, he was in the first one, and he was all bald, he had his squinty eye.
Now, look, we're going to have to fact check this, but as I remember from the original Rogue One, what do they call that? It's a mini trailer, and they call it something else.
A teaser.
A teaser, right?
Yeah.
There was a Rogue One teaser.
Yeah.
Forrest Whitaker was bald. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, just like shiny head, bald. And now he has this crazy thing going on, and his accent changed too.
Yes.
I believe. But like I said, we're going to have to go back and watch it to fact check the whole thing.
Well, this is something we were talking about earlier, but the thing is that from episode 4 to episode 5, Leia Organa's accent changed. Yeah. So accents are in flux in a galaxy far, far away. You can have them whenever with no consequences.
Directors are in flux in a galaxy far, far away.
I feel like you didn't want to put the L in that word. Flux.
I never understood Carrie Fisher's strained and horrible English accent.
She was high. She admitted that.
I mean,
She's
it's
high
like
now.
the more galaxies will slip through your fingers, and it just sounded horrible.
Yes.
But anyway,
Biggest Star Wars fan on the show.
you know how you can tell a real Star Wars fan? By how much they hate Star Wars.
Right.
That's true.
But they usually hold some reverence for the original films.
No, I know. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, let me ask you this though, because I watched the whole trailer twice, and one of the things I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I fell out of Star Wars love when I was in junior high, and I was just like, I've had enough. That was after they had re-released the original 3, and but something that strikes me about these is just the imagery. How do you feel about what's actually being like the way they have like the Death Star and just the way that things are? They're sharper. They look prettier. Does that kind of ruin it, or do you need to look like the originals?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we're seeing these AT-ATs are storming the beach, and you got rebels down there shooting shoulder-fired rockets at these things.
Yeah.
And then like it hits it, and the AT-AT actually is like visibly affected by it,
the head. The head
moves, and it's. It just doesn't feel
I
like
like
Star
that.
Wars. But as far as like something bigger is concerned, I have a huge problem associating the word trailer with what was released.
Yes.
We got a mashup ensemble of images and words and sound effects.
It didn't tell much of a story.
No, it didn't. Well, you guys have seen the original, Star Wars trailer. They used to say things.
Trailers back then were pretty.
But
They were amazing.
Right, but they used to tell you things like the original Star
they did.
Wars.
Yeah, you're right
The
about
original
that.
Star Wars trailer was like,
Story about a boy.
He's like, we find our hero Luke the Skywalker,
On the planet Tatooine.
yeah, on the desolate desert planet of Tatooine. He's like, there's action, romance, adventure.
It just blows me away that trailers were done that way.
The
It
thing
just
is,
blows me away.
He's like,
Okay.
but they're like, hey, there's a farm boy, there's a princess,
Yeah.
there's a scoundrel, there's aliens, there's lasers, there's everything. It's a trailer.
Yeah.
What you need to know to get you into this movie is presented to you, not just sound effects and explosions. It's just a mash of images.
Yeah, and I think that's indicative of a new. I assume that it's relatively new. A new industry of trailer making. There are companies that come together and put these trailers together. They have the movie, or they have some dailies or whatever they're allowed, because otherwise they might accidentally leak the movie. But then they chop these things together, and they have this idea: we'll put in all the best special effects and all the biggest explosions, and people just don't care anymore.
Well, what's crazy about this phenomenon, though, about these trailers, is that you can have a masterful trailer and a shitty movie.
We got that with
And you can have the exact
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad.
I agree with that.
But you liked Suicide Squad.
I did like it.
Didn't you give it
Not the-
3.5?
I gave it a 3.
You gave it a 3. Okay, I thought you gave it
Gave it a
3.5.
Out of
5.
out of
You had to ask.
three out of 19.
The phenomenon with that movie, what's more fascinating to me than the actual movie is the drama surrounding the reviews of that movie. Like, I was spent way too much time at work listening to trailers about that movie.
Don't talk to me about the guy with the petition to close Rotten Tomatoes, because everybody thought that was crap.
I listened to one show.
Here's a little known fact. Did you guys know that Rotten Tomatoes is owned by Warner Brothers?
Yeah, it's partly owned. It's partly owned.
It is partly owned?
Yeah, I
Who's
think,
the- okay.
I think they sold off a chunk of it.
Who's the other
Okay,
player
so-
in that equation? Because if it's not Viacom itself,
Yeah.
then it doesn't matter.
Right.
Warner
Yeah.
Brothers still owns it. Whoa. Nevertheless,
Yeah, we're off
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
One thing I was disappointed in, I was fine with Donnie Yen being just a kung fu master who uses the ways of the Force in order to get one over on his enemies without the use of a blaster or even a lightsaber in this instance.
Because kung fu.
Because kung fu and the Force,
Yeah.
you know, that
Kung
was
Force.
fine. I don't know. The fact that he's very obviously blind and cataract in this trailer seems a little cliched.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of that. Of course, the whole thing as a concept was a little odd to me. I wanted to see, at this point, if they're going to flip Jedi on its head, I want to see a utilitarian Jedi. I want to see a Jedi that will do anything to get the job done. Like Kyle Katarn. I think, man, I never paid as much attention to these trailers as you did, but we saw an absence of at least one character and an introduction of two more in this instance. Like, we lost what appeared to be an American with pale skin and dark hair, and there was some buzz about him being Biggs. He's not present in this trailer.
He was there.
He was?
Yeah.
Did they give him an accent?
The same. Well, I hadn't heard him speak, but beforehand. But all I saw was one of the first promotional images that was released. It was the cast was standing there, obviously on a Star Wars set, tinkering with gear, and I saw a gentleman with dark hair, a very thin mustache, kind of leaning up against some stuff like this, like he had an attitude.
Leaning up against a piano, wearing golden briefs.
Yeah, but, I saw his haircut, the color of his hair, the thin mustache, and I said, that's got to be Biggs Darklighter.
But it was Red Butler.
It was Red Fox. No, it's obviously, listening to the accent from the new trailer, it's obviously not Biggs Darklighter.
Unless they're just giving everybody British accents because alternate setting.
Question from someone who doesn't know that much about Star Wars. Who is that?
Biggs Darklighter grew up on Tatooine with Luke Skywalker.
Where was he seen first?
In deleted scene.
Oh, okay.
Well, he's mentioned in the theatrical release.
He's seen in the theatrical release. He just doesn't say anything.
Was it?
Like a background character?
Because he gets Okay. So like after the events of the trench run and the Death Star is destroyed now.
Oh, now we're talking about Star Wars 7?
Yes. No.
You said trench run. That's from Star Wars 7.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And 4.
So there's a part where he's like Biggs, and they see each other, but he's referenced before, as they used to bullseye womp rats and things like that together.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those can't be more than a meter wide.
We used to bullseye womp rats. Yeah. So anyway, I got kind of excited about that, but didn't work out.
Yeah, ultimately, I think that the problem here is that we have a lot of things flying at us and not enough substance. It's kind of like when a 3D movie markets itself as being a 3D movie. You know that it's going to be a lot of stuff flying at you, and they didn't bother to make the rest of the movie with the characters and the good dialogue and stuff like that. But once again, projections based upon a trailer.
Saw 3D.
I think Rogue One: A Star Wars Story is going to have the exact same problem that the three prequels had, episodes 1, 2, and 3, is that regardless of how much peril our characters find themselves in, or what happens, it's okay. Think about the prequels, right? Think about Obi-Wan in a bad situation, right? The odds are stacked up against him. Mm-hmm. But I know he's going to make it because I saw it in A New Hope. So it completely takes away all the suspense from that scene.
Well, when
Anakin's in trouble, he's going to make it because I saw him in A New Hope.
We don't know. We don't know these characters. The idea of Biggs being in these movies is
not Biggs.
It's not Biggs, and that's my point. Is that we don't know these characters. They could kill them off if they wanted to. Will they? No. But they could.
If they're Bothans.
Well, Mon Mothma is there. We've seen Mon Mothma.
Right. Well, yeah, but Mon Mothma's not going to get her hands dirty. She's going to go get another haircut.
Of course not. She wears white all the time.
Yeah.
I just think that...
She wears white all the time? That does not fare well for Forrest Whitaker.
I don't get that joke.
The Klan.
Oh! Well, there's no hood.
Yeah. That's
I don't know why we even went there.
That's the one part they left out of the trailer. You know what I mean? And that's going to be the big moment in the theaters. But Mon Mothma
Yeah, it's normally Darth Vader.
Yeah.
But then it's Mon Mothma.
Yeah.
She's got,
So
she's got a pneumatic hood.
I guess what I was describing with characters being in peril and it not mattering whatsoever because we know that they survive, the same thing is going to happen, I believe, in this movie. There's going to be a point where they have the Death Star plans, but it's like, oh my God, the entire Empire is against them. They're never going to get the Death Star plans to the rebels. But it's like, oh, they do because I saw Luke blow that shiz up.
Yeah,
like,
you already know the end.
right.
Oh, okay, but you don't know its form.
Right.
It could be this big sacrifice on the part of all characters. We have to leave. We can't get into this shuttlecraft because the supercomputer needed to get the information to them is the only thing that fits, and no, we die.
So, but how did you feel about seeing the back of Darth Vader's shiny head? I mean, that's something, right?
Who cares?
I say that sarcastically. I don't care.
I think I don't know. Maybe if the prequels wouldn't have happened, I would have cared.
No, okay.
You know, when I was a kid, Darth Vader scared the living bejesus out of me. Very huge, intimidating. But then
music.
Yeah, and at the same time, he was kind of like a mid-level enforcer, I guess, for the Emperor.
I didn't realize that until fairly recently.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, I wasn't paying attention to the story very much. Like, he's the big bad guy. He's the guy.
Yeah, but people order him around all the time.
Yeah,
He was below people that were on the Death Star. He wasn't even the highest ranking there.
The military officers are just like,
Yeah.
and it's very unfortunate. But then the prequels just made him out to be some, like, pseudo-messiah. There was like, he's the prophecy, he's the chosen one. And it's doomed to a life of middle management and prosthesis.
Yeah.
Like...
Ultimately, has this changed anybody's opinion about the movie?
No.
To be honest, it hadn't changed my opinion because I didn't really have one. Like, it was just Rogue One. It's a story I kind of already know the ending to. And that's always been my interpretation of what that movie is going to be. Is like, yeah, it kind of sounds kind of cool, but there's no absolute way I'm going to get that excited about it because, like, I know what's going to happen.
Spoiler alert.
Right. They get the plans?
They get the Death Star plans.
Okay, here's my prediction.
You're not going to get that information anywhere else but here.
Okay.
Anywhere else but here.
There's only two things that have to happen for it to ring true.
To make its money back and Disney's happy.
No.
That will happen.
For it to ring true with the events of Episode 4 is that they have to get the plans and many Bothans have to die.
That's true.
I think that Rey 2.0...
No, you're so incorrect. The Bothans died getting Death Star 2 plans.
And then she's going to go into a big room
Wasn't it?
of Bothans.
I thought that's what she said.
No, sir.
She's going to go into a big... Ignoring your point. She's going to go into a big room of Bothans and she's going to pull an equilibrium. And she's just gonna shoot them.
Not Reservoir Dogs. What's that? The two Irish Catholic kids that shoot everybody up.
Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints, like back to back. You know what I mean? Just like circles. Yeah.
And like for no reason, she's like at a retirement home for Bothans.
Well, here's the thing for me. Like what I plan on getting out of this movie, and I'm sad to say this, but it's gonna be the same thing that I wanted to get and did get out of Avatar. I never expected to get a story.
Seeing Dances with Wolves again?
No, Ferngully, sir.
You have a soldier that goes native, you know what I mean, and then fights the old army.
No.
Okay.
That's Pocahontas.
No. What I got out of Avatar to this day is the story was absolute bullshit. I wasn't paying attention, and all it was me actually just appreciating the visuals. That's it. Because I saw it in 3D, and it was pretty. And that's it.
Well,
because this is a crisp looking Star Wars.
If you like to look at stuff, then become a fan of painting.
We can do a painting podcast. I'm not above it.
Not a bad idea. In fact, that's something I was going to talk about. I meant to talk about this before the show started, but we're actually filming this corner because we're actually going to start hanging artwork of different local artists, and showing
fart work.
To each his own. But yeah, that's the thing.
I think this. I try my letter best to not judge a movie by its trailers. I think that this. I don't think that Disney is going to do the cool thing. I think they're going to do the safe thing, which is really weird to me because this is a story that they shouldn't care about.
I don't understand how that's weird to you, because they did the very safe thing when they did the last Star Wars movie.
That makes sense. That's a story that they need to care about. But
No.
this is kind of a throwaway story with characters that they can do whatever they want to.
Because they all die.
Yeah, it's all building extended universe, and they can kill them off. They can be gruesome. They can be weird. It doesn't matter here. They can do the really cool stuff as long as they don't touch the stuff that's really going to sell toys. You know what I mean?
Okay, so I would probably say the exact opposite. When Disney hired J.J. Abrams to make Episode 7, they brought in a visionary director, a guy with his very own distinct style, and they said, resuscitate Star Wars for us. Bring Star Wars back to life. And he did so, and it was a huge success. Now, with Star Wars Rogue One or Star Wars Story, now this is what I've read, this is what's been reported, is that the Disney executives saw a rough cut of the finished movie. Did not like what they saw. Ordered a crazy amount of reshoots.
Like Suicide Squad.
Gave Forrest Whitaker some hair.
Gave Forrest Whitaker some hair and an accent, evidently. Maybe tried to change the tone of the movie. But I think this is why Suicide Squad turned out so bad. Is that you have executives in a boardroom who are directing movies and not the director sitting in the chair. If you just wanted to hire a talking head for the executives, just let all of them come down and give their individual points as to how this movie should be made.
No, I see what you're saying, and that's probably going to be the reality of it. What I'm saying is that they didn't have to do that. They had a big opportunity with these new characters to do something interesting, exciting, and suspenseful, but they're not going to, which is what I found strange.
As a side note, if that hair on Forrest Whitaker is completely CG, I will be looking at nothing else on the screen.
Meech out and Dutch, buddies, and make this world a better place. Ip do tan.
I have no idea what that was.
It was SNL. Buckwheat. No, buckwheat. Bowwheat.
Yeah, buckwheat.
Yeah, buckwheat.
I guess where we're left at is that this trailer kind of blew. And now we are making some assumptions about the movie based upon it.
Very loosely using the word trailer.
Yeah. It was kind of like a music video.
This mashup of images that we saw that pertain to Star Wars characters and things, I did not enjoy.
Can we just say that Mon Mothma is still on fleek?
Yes. Officially, I think that's okay to say.
Yeah. It's okay to have that particular opinion online. Woo! Dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, that's our take on the new Rogue One, a Star Wars story trailer. You're gonna give it the thumbs down?
No,
Okay, now if we're gonna rate it, If we're gonna rate it, we have to be specific. We are rating a trailer. That's key.
We're gonna get a 1 through 5.
You get a 1 through 5.
That's the scale. 1 to
Right.
5.
Yeah.
I'm giving it the old 2.5. It was half good. There are some things I didn't want to see. There's some things I did want to see. Special effects are still nice, but that's not exactly what I'm looking for when they're trying to sell a movie to me.
I'll go next. I'll let you be the finale, Jeremy. So, for me, I thought the visuals, like I was talking about earlier, those impressed me. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. For me personally, I would give it the old 3.5. Because I thought that the visuals were interesting, and they're crisp, if that's a word I can use. And yeah, that's my idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm reminded of the time I was watching a movie last night, and I was streaming it on Netflix, and it was kind of grady, but I didn't care. And then the time that I streamed a Transformers movie on Netflix, and it was grady, and I was like, I can't watch this movie if it's not HD. It has everything to do with its special effects, and
That's
nothing
my
to do
thought.
with anything else.
Yeah, that's my thought.
That movie is a special effect.
Yeah.
Which one was it?
That was
If it was
3.
the third one, oh God, I fell asleep during that movie.
And you
Oh,
probably
God.
you probably took a 45-minute nap
Yeah.
You missed nothing.
Yeah, I know,
But you
exactly.
probably took a 45-minute nap at the 3-hour mark.
It was still,
And there was
going.
still 45 minutes
Yeah.
of footage left to see. Mark Wahlberg, he wasn't even in that movie. Just completely CGI'd in.
So, what's your rating, Jeremy?
I'm going to give this a solid 2.
Yeah.
I thought the most interesting thing about this trailer was the variations on John Williams' original score. I thought that the music was interesting, and I've never heard that arrangement before.
I didn't even notice, honestly.
There's take a second, listen. Don't
Only-
look at it. It'll give you eye cancer.
Only,
so don't watch
only a
it.
true Star Wars nerd would pick up on
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
That's why you're here. Nevertheless, everybody, we want to thank you all for joining us. And on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.